Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. I'm Tiffany with Grow Nebraska, and I am super excited today to kick off this webinar on creating a customer-focused e-commerce experience with Lori Bailey. I'll let her take it away in just a second, but first, I just wanted to go through a couple announcements. First off, wanted to give a shout out to our featured sponsor for this month's trainings. That's the Kearney Area Chamber of Commerce. They partnered with us for our Marketech conference that we just held last week. And so we are super excited to have their support and just wanted to tell them thank you in this way during this webinar and our next week's webinar, which will be on the 3 things you should know about cybersecurity. So if you aren't signed up for that one and want to know a little bit more about cybersecurity for your business, you should go ahead and sign up. You can do that at grownebraska.com/training. Secondly, also wanted to give a shout out to our featured member for this month. That is Ellerbrook Norris Insurance. They have been a Grow Nebraska member since 2018, and they are located in Hastings, Nebraska. So thanks to them for being a member. We hope to work with you even more in the future. All right, so now it is the moment that everyone has been waiting for. Time for us to jump into our webinar. I'm going to let Lori take it away. And if during the presentation you have any questions at all, please drop those in the chat. I am sending a message out right now, it just says hi. So you can type in your question there, and then we will answer questions at the end of the webinar. So don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. We would love to interact with you and give you some more pertinent information for you and your business. So don't be afraid to use that chat feature. And now we will head into our webinar. Today we'll be talking
Today we'll be talking through creating a customer-focused e-commerce experience. So how to design an online experience that sets you apart. So first, why is e-commerce important? By the year 2040, it's estimated that 95% of all purchases will be through e-commerce. The e-commerce industry is growing 23% year over year, and 93.5% of global internet users have purchased products online. These are just a few quick statistics to show the rise in e-commerce, how it's continuing to grow, what its projected growth is, and why it's important to invest now in creating an e-commerce experience that sets you apart. That way you're poised and in a great position for growth as the industry itself continues to grow. So the biggest thing I wanted to hit on is that your website might be the first touch point a potential customer has with your brand. What does this mean? This means that if someone Googles looking for a denim jacket and you come up first in Google and they click on your website, they've never encountered your brand. Your website is their first experience. So they don't get to have things like walking past your storefront and seeing a product in the window. They don't get to have anything like walking in and seeing all of your merchandising, all of your branding, how your employees treat them. The website itself serves the role of all of those things, and it might be the first time a customer has interacted with your brand. So you want to think through, what do you want them to know about you? What do you want them to know about the brand? How do you want your brand experience to feel online? And how can you build trust and loyalty with your customer without having that in-person experience first? So I wanted to get to talk through what that looks like for the customer journey online. So we'll talk through each of these 6 phases, and just know that the goal is to make it as easy as possible for customers to move from one stage to the next. So awareness, when people first hear about your brand or stumble upon one of your products. This could be through social media, through Google, word of mouth, all of that good stuff. Next step is consideration. So now they've hopped on your website, or they're looking at a product you posted on Instagram, they're considering that purchase. They're deciding whether or not it's worth their investment and if they want to invest that money with your brand. And then obviously the purchase into delivery, into them getting that product or service into their hands. So this is when they actually get to experience your offering for the first time. And then depending on how that experience goes, loyalty comes. So if they have a really positive experience with the product and each of those 4 phases before that, then you have a loyal customer who's more likely to not only have repeat purchases from you, but also to refer other people to you, which then leads to more awareness and more people walking through this customer journey process. So what you'll want to do is make sure that you look for and remove any potential obstacles you see in your e-commerce site within or between each of these stages. So what I mean by that is if you see an obstacle in the purchase phase of, okay, I noticed that there's this extra step we're asking clients to do and it's causing a drop off in the purchase rate, or maybe there's an error with one of your payment integrations, or maybe you need to integrate more than PayPal. Maybe it's helpful to have PayPal, Stripe, and Apple Pay in order to make that purchase process have a higher conversion rate and make it as easy as possible for customers to be able to just hop through the phases until they get that product into their hands. Consideration, maybe it looks like you're not providing enough details in the product listing. So just look for any obstacles that you note or that you've had customers tell you in the past, and try and remove and improve anything that you see in each of these phases or between each of these phases that are preventing customers from making it to that next phase. Okay, so we're going to talk through a couple things today about how to increase that customer-friendly e-commerce experience. So the 4 things we're going to hit on are important pages you should have to help your customer journey. We're going to talk through things that can have a negative impact on their overall experience, so things that you need to look out for, and then also how to set yourself apart from competition. So we know that e-commerce is a growing industry. How can you set yourself up for success and give people a unique experience that's authentic to your brand? And then lastly, we're going to talk through how to increase loyalty and repeat customers. So everything we hit on, we'll be talking through how to improve all of those kind of beginning and middle phases of that customer journey. And then we'll finish with talking through, now that you have those things polished up, what can you do to increase that loyalty and continue to increase your rate of repeat customers? So important pages, let's talk about the About page. So the About page is the second most visited page on most websites after the home page. Lots of people head to the About page in order to build connection with your brand. So 86% of consumers say authenticity is important when choosing a brand to support. That means it's especially important to spend your time getting your about page right. So things people want to know, they want to know about your team. They want to know why you started your business, any unique facts about your business that set it apart, the mission. They want to get to know and get to experience your brand. So this page is all about building connection and helping people get to know your brand before they purchase. Next up, the contact and customer support page. So building trust is so essential to building a successful e-commerce experience. And one of the quickest ways to do that is to make it as easy as possible for customers to reach you when they have a question or need support. So things you'll want to think through, obviously this page will be really important, but you might also want to add in some kind of live chat feature to your website so that people are still getting that same level of help and support that they would get in an in-person shopping experience online. So you also want to note that this page should help as many different types of customers as possible figure out where they need to go. So think through how you want to direct press inquiries, wholesale inquiries, if that applies to you, and then just general customer support as well. So even if you do decide just to stick with one form on your website, it should say at the top for press, for general, for customer support inquiries, please fill out the form below. And then I also recommend including an expectation of when they'll hear back from their inquiry in there as well. Otherwise, you should have for press inquiries, contact and list that specific email. For customer support inquiries, please contact and list that specific email, and just make it as clear cut as possible so that everyone knows exactly where they need to go to get the information they need. And then lastly, I want to talk through shop page structure. So in the same way that merchandising is so important in retail locations, you need to be intentional in the way you organize and display products online. So think through how customers are using your website, get feedback from people you know to make sure that it makes sense for them. Think through how you would merchandise those products in a store and set it up in a way that's intuitive online for a client experiencing your e-commerce shop. So then next up, I want to talk through some things to look out for that can cause a negative client experience on an e-commerce site. So site speed is a big one. So I always say this is the equivalent of a customer seeing a long line and deciding it's not worth their time to wait and check out. So if they're on a page and it's loading slow, or if they're clicking on a product and they can see the description, but the images are taking forever to load, this is a huge deterrent to sales. So work hard to improve the speed. Some ways you can do that are by minimizing the product images, following Google Analytics and Google Search Console's suggestions for improvements. Google Search Console especially will be able to tell you kind of exactly what you need to fix in order to increase your site speed. You can also use tools like Page Speed Insights to get a better feel for kind of what pages are doing well and what pages need some improvements. And those are all free tools, so you can set up an account with those to kind of experiment and have a good place to start. The next thing to look out for is a confusing customer journey. So what you don't want is for someone to come onto your site and encounter any obstacles on how they're supposed to use that site. So pay attention to how customers are using your website. Where are they dropping off? What pages are they visiting the most? What is the bounce rate? Look into analytics again. There's also tools like Hotjar that shows you how clients are using. They analyze the customer journey on your website and can tell you kind of how people are following the flow of your website. I always recommend sending your website to friends and family to have them tested as users and provide honest feedback. And then another thing that you can look into as well is the story brand concept. It's just a framework. There's a book about it. I highly recommend that for thinking through and gaining a better understanding for how people are utilizing your site. So how do you set yourself apart as you grow your e-commerce shop? First of all, I would say get creative. As there are more and more shops, it can be hard to figure out how to kind of set yourself apart. A, your brand should be a huge factor in that, but B, brainstorming creative ways that you can set your website apart by making even unexciting aspects like 404 pages and opt-ins more fun can go a long ways in setting yourself apart from competitors. So some examples of this would be MailChimp has a great 404 page. So this is just anytime you've used a website and you've encountered a page that no longer exists, the 404 page is what that directs you to. So you'll see the things I want you to know are that the main menu up here is still available, so people can search and navigate back to the website really easily. What you don't want is for it just to be a page that kind of ends their experience on your website. You want this to be something that helps direct them back to your website. So there's some clever words and then a little animated creature looking into a hole. So it's just a creative way to make that a more positive experience for what is kind of an inconvenience. Pixar also has a great one. For those of you who have seen The Inside Out, you recognize this. If not, this is an animated character from one of their movies. And you'll see it's just a clever little page relating to that character. But again, it makes what is an inconvenience more funny or more fun. And then it has that main menu again. So just super easy to still navigate back to whatever you need or whatever you're looking for. You can also link to things like your help center or anything like that here as well. And then this is just a creative opt-in. It's like a spin the wheel concept. So you spin it to get a discount. And then it's a way to also collect email addresses. So those can be kind of annoying when you're on a website and something pops up. This adds kind of a fun element to it to make it more enjoyable on the user side of things. So heading back to how to set yourself apart, we've mentioned this a few times, but website copy is another big way. So I highly recommend investing in quality website copy. It can go just so far in setting you apart from other people in your packaging and your standard email templates, in your website itself, really anywhere where people are experiencing your brand. It helps make sure that the copy is consistent across the whole site and throughout their whole client journey. So in their order confirmations, anything like that, you just want to make sure that it is a quality reflection of your brand and the voice of your brand. Video is a huge way to set yourself apart. So including videos in your product listings and on your website. This gives people a live experience with your product and helps increase confidence in their purchase and brings about higher conversion rates. So giving people that 360-degree view of a product, helping them be able to better visualize it in their own space, in their own home, just in their life, being able to help them get a more realistic view of what that will look like when they get it in the mail. Videos are super important. I also recommend incorporating videos on pages like your About page that tells your story anywhere that you can or that you feel comfortable doing. Videos are a super helpful way to really set your business apart and build personal connection as well. And then you're just going to want to make sure that your site is very user-friendly. So allowing users to create accounts that saves their payment info, making sure that products are saved in people's carts even if they close out of their tabs. So if you've ever been shopping on an e-commerce website and you've added 10 things to your cart and then got distracted or had to leave, had to close out, but you opened it up the next day or a couple hours later and they were all gone, it makes you just not even want to try to re-add everything in. So you want to make sure that you have it set up so that products are still saved in people's carts, even if they close out of their tab. There's also great options for people to be able to create wish lists and registries. But most importantly, you'll want to make sure that your e-commerce site has really easy to use filters and collection pages, as well as you might also like sections, which those would be if you were to click on a product and underneath it would have a you might also like filled with similar products. So it's the same thing as if a shop assistant was looking at something you liked and said, oh, I've got just the thing. You're going to love this other item based on your preferences. So those are just smart sections to have set up on your website. The easy to use filters make it really easy for people to find the type of article or type of item they're looking for, the size, the price, everything like that. Just think through all of the ways people will be searching through your website and make sure you have that available. Some people do it by color. Just make sure that there's a lot of easy to use filters there on the customer side of things. So the last thing I wanted to get to hit on is how to increase loyalty and repeat customers. So there are lots of ways to introduce loyalty and membership opportunities, but I highly recommend having at least one reward programs where you're encouraging loyalty to your brand and rewarding customers for coming back. So you can set up referral-based awards as well, where people will get a certain number of points for referring people to your store, and then you can exchange those points for rewards. So a lot of people set up rewards programs where for every dollar spent, you get a point. For every 500 points you earn, you get $5 off your next purchase. And then if you refer someone to your brand using a link, and all of this is tracked typically within these systems, they could get 100 points for each client referral that leads to a purchase. You can also reward things like social sharing. It's just super helpful to be able to have all of your most loyal customers in one customer base that you can send specific emails to about sales and special offers, and also being able to reward that loyalty as well as referral-based marketing is super helpful. So if you use Shopify, Smileo is a really popular plugin or app that a lot of people use there. Otherwise, you can find them on pretty much any e-commerce site as well.
Please drop that in the
and
chat.
Then building trust. We've talked about this, but this is just so essential, is finding ways and looking for opportunities to build trust through an e-commerce experience. So without having that in-person connection, looking for ways to kind of replicate that online. So it's very important that you include product reviews. People love to hear other people's opinions on products. If products have no reviews, it can be harder for people to buy. People love photo reviews, testimonials, and then just make sure that you're capitalizing on resharing on social when you're tagged, when a client's unboxing a product or sharing about your product. So just make sure that you're rewarding and showcasing real people using your products, because other people watching it might see someone unboxing a pair of sunglasses and they see them in person or through that video, and they think, oh, I've been thinking about those sunglasses for a while, but I wasn't sure. Now I'm sold. Now I'll buy it. So just looking for opportunities to just really capitalize on that is important. So that is just a couple places that you can start to really focus on creating a customer-centered e-commerce experience. As I mentioned, the biggest thing is just looking for ways to increase that personal connection, making it as easy as possible for them to get through each phase of that customer journey, and then finding creative ways, making it a fun experience and a fun representation of your brand. So that way you're set apart from competitors, and you're more likely to increase loyalty and bring back repeat customers, as well as just increasing conversion rates across the board.